Most of the time when I'm talking about Smash Ultimate, I'm talking about the strongest characters, the best strategies, the most underrated picks. But today, I kind of wanted to flip the coin on its head and talk about some of the worst characters in Smash Ultimate that could really use some buffs, and talk about exact buffs that I'd personally like to give them that can make them a lot better characters, a lot more fun to play, while not being way too annoying to play against. So with that said, let's get going. The first character I'm going to talk about is going to be the first DLC fighter, and that's going to be Piranha Plant. Now, from its initial look, Piranha Plant looked like a half-decent character. There didn't really seem to be anything super amazing about it, but as well, it didn't seem to have anything super bad about it, just kind of an okay first DLC fighter, which I think a lot of people were kind of happy about after all the broken DLC fighters from the last game. As time going on though, we've kind of figured out that Piranha Plant, while looking like just a normal fighter, has kind of ended up being a slightly below average fighter in a lot of ways. Now, I feel like the most really easy to see thing that makes this character not really work is just the fact that a lot of his aerials don't seem to work themselves. There's stuff like forward air, which just doesn't hit a lot of characters for some reason, and as well takes a little bit too long to come out, doesn't really have that great of a hitbox, doesn't really combo, and isn't really that safe. And while it should be a move kind of like, Smash 4 Diddy Kong's forward air to apply a lot of pressure, or to really just start up his whole kit, it really doesn't. His neutral air doesn't really combo into anything as well, and just is kind of like a worse Ivysaur neutral air. And of course down air, which would be a really good, probably one of the best specs in the entire game, just doesn't really hit, which is really unfortunate. Now those are just some, I guess, basic general things about this character, but as we move on, we kind of see some more flaws in Piranha Plant's game plan, and that mainly is that Piranha Plant doesn't have an exact game plan. Piranha Plant isn't really a trap-based character like someone like Snake, or a really defensive zoner character like someone like, Olimar or Samus. Piranha Plant has some tools like that, like side B, neutral B, and down B, which seem like they could apply some traps and some pressure, but they really don't consistently do that. The side B is just a little bit too easy to get away from, and the fact that Piranha Plant doesn't have that many moves that actually just kind of get your opponent stuck in shield, that makes so that isn't really that great at applying pressure on shield, as well, it's kind of hard to get people into combos in your side B. Down B is just way too easy to get away from, way too small, kind of unfortunate that it comes out so slowly. That's just kind of how it is. And neutral B, while it's an okay edge guarding tool, is just kind of that. It doesn't really add too much to its game plan, just adds one extra thing that he can possibly do. Overall, I feel like Piranha Plant's a character that is pretty okay, but if they just buffed up a lot of the aerials so that they actually worked, buffed up a lot of the hitboxes, and especially added a few more combo trees and combo options, and maybe even setups into your side B, into your neutral B, maybe off of like up tilt or off of side tilt, I feel like that could just make this character feel a lot better, feel a lot more whole, and wouldn't even necessarily make this character broken, wouldn't make them top tier at all, but just make them about mid tier, quite a bit better, quite a bit more fun to play, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for Piranha Plant in the future. Moving on to Mii Brawler, this is actually personally my favorite Mii in Smash 4. And I know a lot of people don't like the Miis, and I see some people saying Mii Brawler might be mid tier in this game, and some people saying Mii Brawler might be like the worst character in this game. I feel like he overall is a pretty bad character, but I really wanted to put him on this list because I feel like he's just a character that has so much potential in his character. Now, Mii Gunner, I think, is overall pretty good. Mii Sword Fighter has kind of found a space in the meta, mainly with neutral B into up B. But Mii Brawler just kind of the Mii that doesn't really have too much for Mii Brawler. In a lot of cases, Mii Brawler, the best parts about them, mainly Mii Brawler's really broken special moves like up B, neutral B, kind of just got nerfed a ton from the last game. And in response, I guess in recompense, they didn't really give Mii Brawler much of anything. In a lot of ways, he feels like Mario or Dr. Mario or Wolf or that kind of close range brawler type character, but with worse frame data, with worse hitboxes, with less combos, with slower kill moves, and just a lot less consistency than his other characters. And a lot of his moves just don't really actually combo into each other like they should. You'd think forward air would combo into itself or other moves really consistently. It just kind of doesn't. And it's one of those things where I feel like he could potentially be a really great character, but his moves, again, just kind of don't work. As well, I have to mention here that he is actually slower than Mario in just about every single way, and essentially being a worse Mario, a character that by himself really isn't that amazing in the first place, pretty good, but not amazing, kind of adds up to somebody that nobody really wants to end up playing because there's a lot of similar options that are just playing out better. Overall, I'd really personally like if they buffed up a lot of Mii Brawler special moves, if they made Mii Brawler's normals actually link into his specials in some way, so there are potential combos into those, that would be really cool. Or just making his specials a lot more consistent, making them maybe deal more damage, maybe make them kill a little bit earlier, maybe make his recoveries a little bit better. I feel like just adding those two together would make him a lot more consistent of a character. And again, while they could buff this to the extreme and make an amazing character, it's a little disappointing. I feel like there's a lot of room to grow with this character. Unfortunately, it is a Mii, so I don't really see Sakurai actually working on it very much, but maybe it could be pretty cool if he did. Okay, so going on to my third pick, I know this will be kind of controversial because I know a lot of people think Pokemon Trainer is super good, and I'm going to actually agree. The majority of Pokemon Trainer is good. Ivysaur, I think, is honestly probably a high tier or a top tier type character, and Squirtle is probably like a mid tier for the most part, but maybe like a high tier as far as combos go. But when we talk about Charizard, I know a lot of people like to think, he's okay because he's connected to these other characters, but Charizard by himself is a horrendous character in this game, and I feel like he's one of those characters that just doesn't really work anymore. For some reason, they nerfed a lot of his best parts in Smash 4, brought him into this game, added him to 2 other good characters, and said, hey, okay, go on, it'll be great. Now, I know if you just plain up buff Charizard, that would make Pokemon Trainer probably way too good. So instead of just buffing Charizard, honestly, what I'd ask for right here is maybe some small nerfs to Ivysaur, maybe some possible small nerfs to someone like Squirtle, and kind of averaging out the strength of the characters a little bit more. I really wish the Pokemon Trainer was a character that could be very consistent in, playing Squirtle low percents, Ivysaur maybe at mid percents, and then Charizard at high percents, or just Charizard when you really need to get that kill, the way that Pokemon Trainer looks like he should be played. But the way that it is right now is, you play Squirtle, you play Ivysaur, and then you recover with Charizard, and then you swap back to Ivysaur, which really doesn't make sense. Now, if you don't know way too much about this character, way too much about Charizard, the main things you need to know is that Charizard in this game just doesn't really have any safe things at all. He has no really great kill confirms, and the problem is, that's his main job. In the last game, he had stuff like Forward Air, which was really safe, Neutral Air, which was really safe. He had quite a few kill confirms that just don't work anymore. And the problem is that when Charizard can't do his one job of killing or just spacing people out really effectively and very, defensive far-range spacing that he could in Smash 4, it doesn't really leave him much else to do in this game. And it makes Pokemon Trainer again feel like a character that is pretty good and pretty well designed, but kind of broken just because of Charizard, just because of the way he is. Now, what I personally do for this character is make him a lot more like Smash 4. Make his forward air quite a bit more safe, maybe keep its kill power, maybe nerf that a little bit, kind of up to you. Make Nair actually work, make it combo, make it safe like it was in the last game. It just sucks in this game while it was amazing in the last one. Don't know why they did that. Maybe make his jab a little bit better, forward tilt and down tilt a little bit better. Nothing really way too big, but just adding a little bit less lag to those moves while that's kind of it, just making them a bit more safe, because right now they really aren't safe at all, and it doesn't really have any great options. Especially for those people that want to play mainly Charizard, because as it is right now, they can't, just because the character is so much worse than he was in the last game, and I really wish they could, because I think he's a really cool character, and I think there's a lot of potential in him, so that's what I at least think with this one. Moving on to King K. Rool, which is, in a lot of people's opinion, a pretty good character online, but a very bad character offline. I actually want to add some buffs to this character that would mainly help him, offline. I feel like online, there are some stuff that, you could possibly do that affect both, but I kind of want to avoid those as much as possible because we actually did see a nerf to King K. Rool, even though he wasn't that good in the first place, because he was so prevalent online and doing so well on lag. So here are a few of my ideas that I think could help him a lot offline and make him a lot more consistent. Now, the first thing I'm going to say right here is that King K. Rool needs to just have a little bit less room for his opponent to play around him. A lot of his moves, I feel like, just start up a little bit too slow and makes it that he really can't start off any real aggression, and a lot of times kind of has to wait and bait out his opponent's moves, but he can't really do that well because they start so slow that his opponent can just throw out their moves and hit you before you can really hit them. Now, what I'd personally like right here is that maybe they buff the frame data on a few of his aerials and a few of his tilts just a little bit, by 1 to 3 frames. I mainly stuff like his forward air, stuff like his back air, and in response, they don't change the end lag of any of these moves. Now, what that would do is that it would allow this character to start up attacking, really be a little bit more on the aggro, while at the same time, if the King K. Rool misses one of his attacks, he'll still get punished. I think this would just make him a bit more consistent and just kind of bring him in line a little bit more with a lot of those other heavies, and it's just something that I feel like could actually help this character quite a bit. As well, I want to say right here, I think that his down throw should be grounding for a slightly longer amount of time, but only at low percents. Now, kind of what I'm hoping for is that they make so that his down throw kind of has like a consistent combo out of it. So maybe you could go down throw into stuff like jab, down throw into stuff like forward tilt, down throw into stuff like down tilt, mainly just down throw into a lot of different tilts, but makes it that it never combos into a really strong kill move so that, even at really high percent, you can't go stuff like down throw into forward smash. I feel like this would make so that the character has more consistent damage at low percents. It's a little bit scary to shield against at low percents, while at the same time not being super adoring online because, he grabs you and then he kills you with a forward smash at 60 like he could in the past. I think that could be nice for both those characters, feel kind of fair for both the players, and essentially just make his down throw like most characters throw combos. Now, finally, what they could do is buff his super armor a little bit, but I feel like just helping the speed of his moves would be a lot more in line with getting him to the power level of the other heavies, potentially also buffing the hitboxes of a few of them, like his up air and his up smash if they really wanted to. But probably buffing the armor isn't the best idea because it would be very frustrating to play online if they made it even better. A lot more complaints, so I'd probably steer a little bit away from that, a little bit more towards just frame data, making him a little bit better. That's actually a kind of harder buff to keep your eye on when you're playing online, and I feel like that would help the character a lot, and it could be buffed quite a bit over the next few patches if they needed to, and not really way too much to worry about because it's not a complete kit rework, just a little bit of help to him. The final character I'm going to talk about right here is going to be my boy Little Mac. For myself personally, as you know, I actually quite enjoy this character. I think he's a lot of fun, and while he was a lot more fun in the previous game, I feel like there's still some fun to be had with this character. Now, the problem is Little Mac just really sucks in this game, which is so unfortunate. I saw a lot of potential in this character. I saw, running tilts, I saw his power from all the trailers, from all the gameplay before the game came out. But then when the game finally came out, we realized that Little Mac is just kind of a worse version of the previous game's Little Mac in a system that is a lot more beneficial to having go to aerials because there's barely any lag on those. And that adds up to a character that really can't do way too much and is probably one of the worst, if not the worst character in the entire game. Now, that alone I feel like kind of hurts the character, but one specific thing other than just the general changes to the game that hurts him a ton is that Little Mac's side B, or I guess his recovery, just sucks in this game. Now, they did make it go a little bit further, but what they did is that they made so that when you hit this thing, you don't get a second side B. So if you happen to hit the Little Mac in the air out of one of his side Bs, he's instantly dead. Now, I feel like that should definitely just be changed so that if you hit Little Mac out of his side B, he gets another one. Wouldn't be way too ridiculous of a change. I think everyone can accept that and make so that he can get off the ledge a little bit better. Now, he'd still be edge guarded a ton, but yeah, I feel like that's just one of those changes that should have happened by now and hasn't happened by now. Now, as well, one thing I want to say is that I think overall Little Mac could be okay in this game and could maybe hit that mid-tier potential that he had in the last game if he got his combos back from the previous game. Now, if you didn't know, Little Mac on the ground actually had a pretty good amount of combos in the previous game in Smash 4. Down tilt and up tilt led to a ton of random different things, a ton of potential kill confirms, or just a lot of 50-50s, but in this game, they just kind of don't do that anymore, which is just kind of disappointing. It makes him a character that just kind of gets one hit and moves on, and one hit and moves on. And yeah, I don't want Little Mac to, of course, combo into every single one of his smashes every time he gets a hit, but comboing, tilt into tilt, tilt into up B, tilt into side B, tilt into KO punches certain percents, I think that can be pretty fun. Making his up tilt and his down tilt work a lot more like they did in Smash 4 is the thing that I personally want out of this. And even though I think no matter what you do, he'll still probably be, by comparison, a little bit worse than he was in Smash 4 because his movement was just a lot better than most people comparatively, and it's quite a bit worse compared to other people now. That would help him at least a bit to become a bit better of a character. Overall, he's a character that I agree shouldn't really be buffed way too much. He is kind of not that healthy for the game, but helping him out a little bit would be so nice. Making him a little bit less frustrating would be really, really nice as well. And yeah, I feel like Little Mac could just use a little bit of love because he is in a really bad place right now. But anyways, there you guys go. That's my own personal opinion about the 5 characters that I think are some of the worst characters in the entire game right now that could really use some buffs. Now, there are potentially some other bad characters or worse characters, but I feel like these are the ones in specific that I saw that you could buff up, that could still not be like super annoying to play against, or the characters that just really, really needed help more than just like anybody else. But this is, of course, just my own personal opinion, so if you have your own characters that you feel like are very bad and could use some help, please tell me down in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment down below those characters, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future, and top by screen right now is a card for a playlist of more Smash Ultimate videos. Thank you all for watching, though, and as always, have a smashing day.